This is Brian Wartell, or Yisachar Wartell, and I'd like to talk to you today about the College Shas initiative. Shas is a collective term for all the Talmud, or Gemara, both terms used to denote the commentary on the oral law of the Torah. And some people think that it is strictly law-based. Some people think it is pointless. Some people think it's incredibly important. The reality is it's both, but primarily really important. And then it's not all laws. There are plenty of stories, plenty of allegories, but they're all meant to teach a purpose. And there are many things that are interesting. Not everything is dry. In fact, most things are not. Most things are incredibly interesting, and some of the most interesting things are found in the Tractate of Berachos, right, which literally means blessings, right, which is the first one in the Talmud. Right? I've chosen today to speak to you about the subject of dreams. Now, as we know, dreams are of incredible importance sometimes, but other times just reflecting on what we thought about during the day. So there is a sugya, or a section of the Talmud, that goes through dreams and what they mean, or what they can mean, what they cannot mean, and various means of interpreting them. And we'll see just how important dreams are, or occasionally how nonsensical they may be. There's some interesting anecdotes that are inserted along the way. So I'll start. Rav Chisda begins to teach about dreams. He said, let one dream any dream, but not a dream about fasting. Seems logical enough. And a dream that has not been interpreted is like a letter that has not been read. Now that's a very profound statement. I mean, if you have a dream, and it's not something that you logically thought about during the day, and you obviously know why you dreamt about it, but it's something that didn't occur to you and is constantly bothering you throughout the day, it's imperative that you tell somebody about your dream, and preferably have it interpreted favorably. So if you're going to tell it to somebody who has a pessimistic attitude, it's probably better to tell it to someone else. So he goes on to say, a positive dream is not destined to be fulfilled in its entirety, nor is a negative dream destined to be fulfilled in its entirety. Which means to say that even a prophetic dream is not purely prophetic. There are some other aspects involved, things from the back of your mind, things that occur to you during the day, other little bits of nonsense that get mixed in. And we're going to say that the converse is true as well. Right? We're going to see that later on, that even dreams that are purely nonsensical sometimes have an element of prophetic vision or some element of realness to them. Okay? He also said, Rav Chisda, that is, a negative dream is better than a positive dream. We'll see why. As for a negative dream, its sadness suffices for it. Which means to say that sometimes the dream itself is a kapara, or an atonement. The fact that you get very scared or worried from a dream sometimes is in effect an atonement for a sin that you've done. And therefore it can be purging. Whereas a positive dream, its joy suffices for it. I mean, it makes you happy, but sometimes that's your reward right there, and you'd rather have your reward something other than in your subconscious. So it goes on to other teachings about negative versus positive, and it goes on with a lot of different things. And they present a related teaching where the verse states, Hanavi asher ito chalom yisaper chalom, v'asher devari ito yidaber devari emet. Right? The prophet with a dream tells a dream, but the one with my word speaks the word of truth. Ma'ala teven et habar ne'um Hashem. How can the chaff compare to the wheat? Thus says Hashem. Now, of what relevance is chaff and wheat to a dream? We'll see that it makes an analogy. So rather, Rav Yochanan said, in the name of Rav Shimon bar Yochai, we'll also see the ongoing theme throughout the Gemara that it's very important to quote things in the name of your teacher or the one who you heard it from. Right? Just as it is impossible to have wheat without chaff mixed in it, so too it is impossible to have a dream that imports meaning without some senseless matters mixed into it, as I have said before. Meaning, even an incredibly strong prophetic vision, if you will, has some elements of shtus, nonsense. So I'm just going to pick and choose a few key points that I think are of particular interest to myself and hopefully to you. So Rav Huna bar Ami said, in the name of Rav Pedas, who in turn said in the name of Rav Yochanan, Haroach halom v'nafsho aguma yelech yitzarenu b'fnei shlosha. Right? One who sees a dream and his soul is distressed about it should go ahead and have it interpreted in the presence of 3 people, not just one, but 3. Because we know 3 counts as a base din. It counts as a small court, if you will, that has some type of viability to it, that makes it a little more real, and therefore what you're dreaming about, their interpretation can actually have a legitimate meaning, as opposed to one person's interpretation, which may or may not have much sway. So the Gemara asks, Yifterenu, should he really have the dream interpreted by these people? But didn't Rav Chisda say, a dream that has not been interpreted is like a letter that has not been read? So if it's a bad dream, maybe you don't want the dream open. Maybe it's like an envelope containing a dangerous package, and you shouldn't have that package opened. So why should you go and get it interpreted if you know that it's going to have a bad omen? So rather we're going to say it this way. If one is distressed by a dream that he has seen, let him remedy the dream in the presence of 3 people. So how is this done? Let him bring 3 people and say to them, I have seen a good dream, right? You get it off on a good note, right? You don't come in with a pessimistic attitude, which is an underlying theme. Even many of the allegories and many of the teachings of the Gemaras have a lot of underlying tones. So it comes to teach you, always come into even something negative with a positive attitude. Right? I have seen a good dream, and let them say to him, it is good, and may it be good, and may the merciful one transform it for the better, and may it be decreed upon you 7 times from heaven that it be good, and may it indeed be good. A lot of emphasis saying that it should be good, and hopefully Hashem will listen and interpret it that way. Shmuel, when he would see a negative dream, would recite the following verse. V'chalamot hashav yidaberu. Dreams speak lies. Meaning, they don't mean anything. It's just thoughts. Not going to worry about them. Right? Which is a different approach to what we've seen before. But when he would see a positive dream, he would say, right, it's the same pasuk, it's the same phrase, but it's worded in a question. Do dreams speak lies? Meaning, surely dreams must be true. Meaning, this must be true. Which again, the same thing, positive, negative. It says there are 24 interpreters of dreams residing in Jerusalem, right? This is in the time of Rabbanah, right? Now, once I dreamt a dream, and I went to each of them to ask for its interpretation, and that which this one interpreted for me was not the same as the other one interpreted to me, meaning a dream can be interpreted seemingly 24 different ways, or a multitude of ways. Yet all of the interpretations were realized for me, and all of these things actually did materialize. Meaning, all of the interpretations that were given, which hopefully were favorable, did play out, which is incredible. And this fulfills the principle stated by Scripture that the realization of all dreams follow them out. It is dependent upon the interpretation given to it. And is that really true? And then it goes on to prove things one way or the other. Ultimately, then it does, and it gives more proof from Yosef, from Joseph. All right, and then it gives a couple interesting things. Rabbi Yochanan said, if one awoke and a scriptural verse immediately fell into his mouth, it's a sort of minor prophecy. And again, go to people to see what it means, but it should be very awe-inspiring. Rabbi Yochanan also said, three types of dreams are destined to be fulfilled. A dream one sees in the morning just before he wakes up, a dream that his friend dreamt about him, and a dream that is interpreted within a dream. And some say even a dream that was repeated, like the next night. Right? And it goes on to teach about these things. And of course these things should be taken with a grain of salt. Obviously the higher level that you're on, probably, I imagine the more so this would be true. Or Shmuel bar Nachmani said in the name of Rabbi Yonatan, he said something on a somewhat different note. A person is shown in his dream nothing but the products of his own thoughts. Meaning, it's pretty much meaningless. Everything is part of your subconscious. The Gemara continues with Rava saying, know that this is so. In a dream, a person is never shown a palm tree of gold or an elephant entering through the eye of a needle. Because these are things that even the human mind would not really conceive of. You know, except maybe mine. No, I'm just kidding. Things that are so incredibly out of the realm of even a normal imagination are not usually shown in a dream. On occasion they can, and it probably does not mean anything, but might be worth talking about it with people in case it does mean something, especially if you don't normally have thoughts like that. Alright, so we're going to give a related incident. Caesar of the Roman Empire once said to Rabbi Yeshua, the son of Rabbi Hananiah, you Jews say that you are exceedingly wise, so tell me what I will see in my dream tonight. And Rabbi Yeshua replied to him, in your dream you will see that the Persians will press you into service to the king, and they will seize you and force you to pasture unclean animals with a staff of gold. And it happened that Caesar thought about this vision the entire day, and at night he actually saw this in his dream. Which, again, goes to show you that it's not really like a prophecy. It's just because he was occupied with that thought the entire day.